That was crazy.
It's something in the grain room. Apparently that happens from time to time.
Grain room catching.
Yeah. Or not it was like the roasting room or whatever.
Yeah. There's a lot of dust
it's like,
with grain.
Yeah, you put dust and heat together and it's going to smoke from time to time.
Interesting. Yeah.
Speaking of smoke, just to get this one out of the way, for people wondering about my hat, asatcamo.com, I believe. You can get it there. I was not out hunting this morning. I'm also not just trying to be one of those people that wears camo around town. But I had to go out and do a site walk this morning, and hello, and it was raining. So here we are.
Here we are.
Are we in the way?
How's it going, man?
Hey, Nick. Say hi to everybody. No, you got to say hi.
Yeah,
say hi.
You got to make an appearance.
There's Nick. There's Nick. He was trying to be sneaky. He was trying to be sneaky. Man. It didn't work. It's okay, man. It's okay. Always come through. We're casual here.
Extremely casual.
Yeah. So
it's going to get spicy quick.
It's going to get spicy quick. And so we'll skip over all the other bullshit and get right to the law, I think. Unless you got something you want to talk about first.
No, it's just the only thing I wanted to ask you about, and I forgot to, was the Burkett Mills fire. So
yeah.
Thought we were going to have a bunch of pancakes made somewhere.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
All right.
Okay. The reason I want to talk about this is because it goes into effect 11 days from now. And a lot of people don't know what's in it, including people who are gun owners or concealed carry permit holders. And this is a law that you could become a felon accidentally
in 10 days.
A week and a half from now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see anybody become a felon. I'm not going to tell you that you should or should not comply with this law, but I'm going to say that, even the people who think that the police would never enforce this trash, you think they'd lose their job over it? Yes, right. It's 23 pages long. Read it. You'll be able to see how horrible it is. And as a matter of fact, I've got it here. And I just want to look at a couple pieces of it.
Have you read the entire thing?
I have read the entire thing. There's a lot of weird stuff in it.
I've read.
I haven't memorized it. I haven't memorized it, but I've read the whole thing. There's a lot of weird stuff in it, as usual in New York State with gun laws. But the sensitive places is the kind of big one that I want to talk about. And just to make people feel better, before we start talking about the actual sensitive places, concealed carry permit holders are the most lawful group of citizens on earth. We don't commit crime. It just doesn't happen. We're more lawful than law enforcement. The rate of crime among concealed carry permit holders versus law enforcement officers is not even close. So if you feel safe having police around, you should certainly feel safe having concealed carry permit holders around. I'm not trying to say anything negative about the police by saying that. Right. I'm just trying to say that if they make you feel safe, people who have a concealed carry permit should also make you feel safe. So, a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the law. We're going to talk about it, and then some things that maybe you can do. If anybody has suggestions, I know there are lawsuits going on, and I know they'll be looking for donations to be able to help fund suing the New York State government, because I think we're going to be doing a lot of that for a while.
Have you heard if any counties are suing the state?
No, but I'd like to see it. I'd love to see it. I'd also love to see some other solutions, which we can talk about a little bit. So first off, this includes some crazy stuff about how you have to get your permit now. So you have to renew it every 3 years. The first time that you renew it, you have to do 16 hours of training, including 2 hours of live fire training, which is prohibitive for people. You
Yeah,
know,
doesn't
like
really exist.
it would be cool if A, it existed, and B, I could get the time to do that maybe. And I mean, the county doesn't even have time to do that with all the concealed carry permit holders. And I've requested to know how many concealed carry permit holders there are in this county and haven't heard back yet. So I'm hoping to hear back on that
Oh, that'll be a good
at some
number.
point.
I wonder what
And
it is.
maybe I
Huh.
know somebody that can help me find out that number.
Huh.
I requested that information from the county clerk and did not get a response.
Interesting.
So, this big chunk of green,
Yeah.
that's where you can't do it. And so for people who
Are you sharing your screen with?
I'm not,
No.
I'm
Okay.
just showing it to you. So for people who haven't read this, I just want to tell you what the consequences are first. Do you know what the consequences are?
I've read all. I mean, there's like a number fine penalty, and then there's like how many days in jail and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I just know you can be fined and or jailed like everything else.
So for carrying in what's considered a sensitive place, the charge is a Class E felony. So first off, you're a felon, and not it's not a misdemeanor; it's a felony. It's not a violation. You are a felon. You lose your right to vote. You lose all your rights. And
Is it up to 5 years? Wow.
Yep, about 4 or 5 years in jail for just about anything that you do wrong. And there are a lot of things that you could do wrong, and a lot of them that might not even be intentional. So that out of the way, if as a business owner, if you are a local business owner or homeowner or otherwise, I just urge you to kind of take notes on this, because what you do could have an impact on whether someone ends up being a felon. And obviously, it's their responsibility to comply with the law. I'm not saying anything about that, but little things could end up making the difference. And yeah, so Sean pointing out right off the bat, private businesses have to have a sticker in their window in order for you not to be a felon just by walking in. And if you have to leave your firearm in your vehicle, it has to be in a safe. And locked in your glove compartment does not count. And that is explicitly written out in the law that your glove compartment cannot be a safe. And yep, 5 years in jail if you do either one of those wrong. Now, we'll talk. I think we should talk a lot about the private business and private property part of this law.
Can we touch back on the car one real quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I didn't actually read that. So
Yeah. So
it says that you can't leave a gun in a vehicle unless it's in a safe, even if you're in the vehicle.
well, let's look it up. I'll show you exactly what it says. Let's see.
I didn't actually see
that's
that.
places where you cannot carry it, transfer ammunition. No. All right. No person shall store or otherwise leave a rifle, shotgun, or firearm out of his or her immediate possession or control inside a vehicle without first removing the ammunition from and securely locking such rifle, gun, or firearm in an appropriate safe storage depository out of sight from outside the vehicle. For purposes of this section, safe storage depository shall mean a safe or other secure container which, when locked, is incapable of being opened without a key, keypad combination, or other unlocking mechanism, and is capable of preventing an unauthorized person from obtaining access, and shall be fire, impact, and tamper resistant.
Huh. Okay.
Fire resistant. Come on. Nothing in the section shall yada, yada, yada. For the purposes of this section, a glove compartment or glove box shall not be considered an appropriate safe storage depository.
That's where my handgun always is.
Not anymore.
Huh.
No, that doesn't exist. You didn't hear that. We're not.
I'm a felon in 10 days. I better have to remove it.
You're going to have to come up with some other option.
Interesting.
And you better make sure it's fireproof, which is insane.
Oh, God. Okay.
Where did we go? So I want to see. So just
So they're forcing you to carry it on you at all times then. I mean,
well, they're forcing you to leave it home
right. Yeah, that's a better way because
because
then you can't bring it
if you
into a
go
building.
any place, you can't bring it in. And essentially, like I'll briefly go through the list of places where you can't bring it. But basically, if you go anywhere, you can't bring it. And if you leave it in your car improperly, then that's a felony too.
So they want you to take it off your hip,
Right?
open up a storage container while you're standing outside of your car, take the ammo out of your gun in the open,
Yep.
put it in a container, put the ammo down, and lock the gun safe in your car.
Don't you feel safer already?
It doesn't. Does it make sense that you're not supposed to show your pistol in public, and they want you to pull it off yourself in public and put it in a case, remove the ammo? Like,
What's the most dangerous part of carrying a firearm on a day-to-day basis? Every day, what's the most dangerous part?
I guess I don't think of any part of it being dangerous.
Well, there are parts of it that are more risky than other parts, right? So,
Yeah, I guess you could say.
what's the okay, let me change the question. What's the safest part of carrying a firearm? Okay, I'm not saying this in a way that's okay.
I don't
The
know what
point that I'm making
Okay,
is that when your gun is in its holster,
right.
it's pretty safe.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
And
There's
as
nowhere to
long
get
as you
anything to a
keep it
trigger.
in your holster,
Yep,
and it's a good holster,
yep.
it's pretty safe.
Sure.
When you remove it from the holster, it gets a little bit less safe,
I guess. Yeah.
right?
I see what
When
you're
you're
talking about now.
now
Yeah.
you're handling a
Yeah.
firearm.
Okay.
Now you have to do other things properly, like keep it pointed in a safe direction, keep your finger off the trigger, those things. Loading and unloading a firearm are when things can happen. Taking it out of the holster, putting it back in the holster are when things can happen. This
Yeah.
is just how
That's a
accidental discharges
that's a
happen.
good point. Yeah.
Keeping it in the holster, if it's in its holster all day long, not a goddamn thing's gonna happen.
No.
Not a goddamn thing.
Now I get what you're saying. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
Handling the gun more. Yeah.
Right. Yes, exactly, Sean. Reholstering, um, loading and unloading, all those things are the times when things could happen. Yeah, you can't get on a bus or a train or any form of public transport. Let's see a list. Sensitive locations. Any place under the control of federal, state, or local government for the purpose of government administration, including courts. Well, we weren't carrying into courts already, but there were other
So what
publicly
does
run
that
places where you
do
could.
to the county building now? Does that and
Off limits,
it's
felony,
all of a sudden instantly
felony,
off limits now?
felony.
So that whole thing that was passed is gone.
No, but it's going to be preempted by this.
So that takes precedent over the law that was made that you could carry concealed.
So the law that was made by Yates County to make it so that it was still okay to carry concealed. It didn't make it so it was okay to carry concealed. It didn't prohibit it.
Okay.
The law was written initially to prohibit it, and
Right.
then it was changed to not prohibit it as long as it's concealed.
Right.
This prohibits it no matter what.
So this is the new rule then.
This is the new rule. This is the highest. This is the most restrictive rule.
Okay.
Any place providing health, behavioral health, or chemical dependence care or services. Providing health
That could go
services.
go pretty far.
Does that count? Like if you can get a vaccine at Walgreens, is Walgreens on the list?
I was going to say Walmart.
What about Wegmans? Like, can you get a vaccine at Wegmans or Walmart? Yeah, Walmart has health.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we don't know. So there's more questions than answers on some of these things, but we're just throwing these out here because they're important, I think. Any place of worship or religious observation.
No guns.
No guns. So I know churches that have set up, there've been church shootings. And so some of these churches have set up to have a group of their, attendees, parishioners, whatever they are,
Yeah.
to be part of this, to be able to, they assign different people to guard the door and otherwise to keep their people safe.
Yeah.
And now those people will be felons if they do that, if they protect their church. Libraries, public playgrounds, public parks, and zoos. Public parks, which includes, by the way, the portion of the outlet trail that's inside the village, the boat launch. Unless you're in the process of hunting and you have a firearm and you're going on the boat launch, that's felony.
And public parks also, I mean, that could be, if you're talking, there's some parts of the Catskills and the Adirondacks that are public parks. Right?
Yes.
So if you're walking and you want some sort of firearm, you can't have it unless you're hunting.
The largest,
interesting.
The Adirondack State Park is just like covers.
It's massive.
Like thousands and thousands and thousands. I don't know, maybe, I don't know how many. It's just like, it's massive. And there's like 400,000 people that live in it. So now if they have a gun, which they mostly do,
I'm sure everyone has a gun up there.
That's a felony. I don't know how they're getting around that. If maybe they just have to keep it inside their home.
Maybe there's
I don't know.
Did they do like exceptions on it?
There's not one in this law.
Oh, that's all there is.
There is not one in this law.
Wow.
Any program licensed, regulated, certified, yada, 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 by the Office of Children and Family Services that provides services to children, youth, young adults, childcare, any legally exempt childcare provider, a childcare program that has a permit to operate the program that's been issued by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, nursery schools, preschools, summer camps. I learned how to shoot at a summer camp. The location of of course, I think they're going to exempt some of those, like if it's a hunter safety course, things like that. Any program, yada, 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 licensed, operated by the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities. Let's see, anything funded by the Office of Addiction Services and Supports, funded by the Office of Mental Health, yada, 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 funded by the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. Like, think about people who have disabilities. Firearms are an equalizer for them. If you use a wheelchair, I mean, not to single out people, but if you have, certain disabilities that make it so that you can't physically defend yourself, a firearm is an equalizer for you that makes it so that now you have a chance.
Yep.
If you bump into somebody that's a baddie, and they're making it so that you can't take that with you now. Let's see what else we got.
There was
anything involving the homeless
up before where it says anybody without who's the one that's supposed to decide if people have mental, it said instability and and there was another word in there. So
where?
Like way at the top. I'm sorry to go on a different one. It's not even, it was like way in the beginning. Like, whose job is it to decide the mental cognitive abilities of someone? Does it say who in here is supposed to do that?
I don't know. I mean, it should be a judge.
Is that?
I mean, I don't think it should be a judge. I don't know. Maybe it should be a judge. Maybe it shouldn't be a judge. But I think that for most of the stuff, it's like legally adjudicated or if it's in your records. So they're starting to pull records, I think, for people too, for their mental health.
Gotcha.
There's crazy stuff. Red flag laws. People don't understand how bad red flag laws are. They think, oh, well, why wouldn't we want to be able to take somebody's guns so they can't do something with them? And it's like, you could have them be present at the hearing so they can defend themselves. That would be great. And then there's due process. It's in the Constitution.
If you go and get therapy and you end up having to put you on Xanax or something because you're having anxiety, I've heard that you cannot have a gun. Is that true? Did you hear about that?
I am not a lawyer.
No. Okay. Because that was like a big thing everyone's pushing. Like, if you've ever sought mental help and you were prescribed something for it,
yeah,
instantly, mentally,
it's going to make it tough. I don't think it's necessarily going to be instant, but it's going to make it tough, and it's going to make it so that people who maybe just need a little bit of help
Yeah.
are not going to go get it because they're worried about just what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Residential settings that are operated by the Department of Health, any grounds that are owned or leased of any educational institution, college, university, private career school, school district, public school, private school, yada yada yada. Anything where there's education happening. Any place where you are on public transportation. This is a long list, people. Let's see. Anybody who has any establishment issued a license for on-premise consumption pursuant to Article 4, 4A, 5, or 6 of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law, where alcohol is consumed, and any establishment licensed under Article 4 of the Cannabis Law for on-premise consumption. So that means that
There goes my Second Amendment.
sorry, buddy. Yeah. And unfortunately, this doesn't have an exception for the owner. So
Yeah, crazy.
sorry about that. Any place used for the performance, art, entertainment, gaming, sporting events, theaters, stadiums, racetracks, museums, amusement parks, performance venues, concerts, exhibits, conference centers, banquet halls, gaming facilities, video lottery terminal facilities. Any location being used as a polling place, any public sidewalk or public area restricted from general public access for a limited time or special event that has been issued a permit for such time and event by a governmental entity or is subject to specific heightened law enforcement protection and that has clear and
That
conspicuous
S is
signage.
crazy. Do you read that?
S. Oh, yeah, here's the next one. Any gathering
What?
of individuals to collectively express their constitutional rights to protest or assemble.
Are you kidding me? Wow, I've never read that part. That is insane.
The area commonly known as Times Square.
Well, I mean, that's always been illegal, so I don't get what.
No, it hasn't.
You can't carry in New York City.
You can if you're from New York City and you have a permit.
Yeah, good luck getting one.
Well, now you can. That's why they
Yeah.
made the law. So, sorry, that's a lot. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Like, look at the Duck Hunters Club.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that one would be interesting to see.
that will be interesting. I know that Hochul's come out recently and said that those won't be affected because they're considered to be associated with hunting, which it's like, okay, well, I don't know. I mean,
it comes down to the
kind of crazy
to the fact of what I think we all always bring up is, so now you just made it so all the good guys can't have guns in places, but the people that aren't going to follow the laws can have the guns.
Yep.
And that's all. And it always comes down to that is you're not, unless you can somehow, if you can't reasonably check every person to see if they have a gun and guarantee my safety, it's my job to guarantee my safety.
Don't go there.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do.
You just can't. You can't go there. So here's the one that we really should take the last couple minutes to talk about, and it's in a little bit of a different section. But a person is guilty of criminal possession of a weapon in a restricted location when they possess a firearm, rifle, or shotgun, and enter into or remain in or on private property where such person knows or reasonably should know that the owner or lessee of such property has not permitted such possession by clear and conspicuous signage indicating that carrying of firearms, rifles, or shotguns on their property is permitted and otherwise given express consent. And that's the crazy thing, because
careful where you go hunting.
In most states, there has been a
think you cross on the wrong person's property, felony.
In most states, the law, in many states, I should say, some states you can carry wherever you want. It's not like other than specific spots. In some states, they can post a sign that says no firearms allowed here, and they can call the police on you if you do it, and it's against the law if you do it. Here It goes the opposite way and says that unless they permit it explicitly, it's not allowed, which means that businesses are going to have to give up certain rights to just allow it. They're going to have to actively advertise that they allow concealed carry on their premises. So, um, I think that's going to be an issue for some businesses, but I encourage business owners to do that if you don't fall into one of the categories that's not allowed to have an exception, because you're restricting people who aren't hurting anything, and maybe you might save your life. So
It's
yep,
insane.
yep, and we're talking background checks on ammo, which is insane. We're talking micro stamping and other crazy things too. That said,
It's crazy. Real quick, it's
go ahead.
crazy to think that we're okay with cops doing all this, and then you look at someone like Sean, who has some of the highest training you could possibly have in combat,
Hmm.
and he can't carry his gun where a cop can. I mean, it's just like, we got some serious veterans here that are, I mean, just monsters that could protect people all the time. And instead, we're leaving it to some cops who have less training than anyone in the military. So
Absolutely.
I I don't get it.
So
So
I want to share. I agree with that entirely, and I just want to share for the business owners in Yates County. If you are one that's allowed to allow people, rather than having your rights taken away as well, we have the Libertarian of Yates County is going to be able to provide you with a 5x5 sticker. They'll go on the inside of your glass, and I'm showing it on the screen: lawful concealed carry permitted on premises, and a little note that it's provided by the Libertarian Party of Yates County Libertarians, rather. And just ask us. We will be stopping by to talk to some of you to do a little bit more education and let people know that, we're going to be giving these out for free to businesses in Yates County. And if you are a business outside of Yates County, or an individual who wants to post this in your home or otherwise, we will be doing that via donation, and we're sorting out the last little bits of details on that, but it'll be pretty reasonable donation level to be able to get this sticker for your home. So, and that'll help us be able to pay to be able to get them into the businesses. So that will protect your Second Amendment rights at least a little bit.
and I'd like to personally thank Kathy Hochul for making soft spot targets in New York go up 50 times.
Yeah.
And all these cash businesses who deal in alcohol, who have a lot of cash on premise, now have no way to protect themselves or their money.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Good job.
So
She did. She was real smart.
it's insane. There are
Yeah.
lawsuits. I hope that we get more lawsuits going. I hope that somebody is being creative about how we solve this as well, because there are a lot of exemptions for law enforcement, and I'd happily join a sheriff's auxiliary or something to that effect.
There you go. A local
And
militia.
so maybe we can talk to our local sheriff and see if he'd be willing to deputize the local concealed carry holders so that they can be exempt from this law. I think that'd be
Is there
fantastic.
anything illegal about that, or is he allowed
No,
to
he's
do
allowed
that?
to. He can
Okay.
he can deputize. You don't even have to live inside Yates County for him to deputize you.
Really?
Yep. So if anybody has any ideas that we can maybe talk to the sheriff about, then send those my way so that we can get that organized. But other than that, we're gonna have a hard time. I don't see this law standing forever. I think that it's going to go down as soon as it gets to the right court, but it's going to be hard times for a little while, I think.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy that this could even get passed.
Yeah.
And you can just tell how rushed it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't, there's not a lot of, they, most laws are passed have like 50 exceptions on it. A lot of these are like, no, 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 no.
Yep.
And every once in a while you get a little exception.
It's insane.
The crazy part to me is still the gun having to be locked in your car. But when you're carrying a gun into a place like that, you will have to remove your gun in public.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to do that. You can't sneakily remove your gun in your Honda Civic.
Yep.
You know, you're gonna have to get out, take your gun off your hip, unload. I mean, you're showing way more people your gun than you would any other way. That doesn't even add up.
There's nothing good about this law, and
You're right, Sean.
Vote for somebody that's going to get rid of this law, and let's move on. But in the meantime, it's going to be tough. So
I think the big thing is like you were saying, put money toward some of these people trying to fight it. Yeah, and maybe go to your local politicians and see what they can do, if they can get together and maybe go after the state.
I hope to at least see letters from our representatives. I think that would be great. Do you want to talk for a couple minutes? I got to run upstairs.
Sure.
Or
Yeah. No, I mean, I can
okay, go.
Hang in if you want to. Yeah. Well, I Sean, you talking about it with you. We it'll be interesting, Kurt. I don't know. This so there is a couple, I believe there's a couple counties that are looking at going into a lawsuit. Say the problem is you're dragging it out and you're spending your taxpayers' money, and I think this is going to be tough to get changed, but we'll see. Hochul's only got so long in here. Vote for Larry Sharp. There you go, Irene. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I wonder when Phil finds out how many concealed carries there are in the county. It'll be interesting to see. I would be curious to see how many concealed carries there are in the state, because you'd think everybody would try to donate or push back on this. So, yeah. I love how the camera's looking at Phil's empty seat. Look at that. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, Sean, you were at my place. You seen the protected by the Second Amendment sign on the door. I'm probably gonna have to remove that. I don't think that'll go over well. Oh, 11 days. I also was looking around to see if there was anyone that did the live fire training, and the yeah, there's some weird ghost stuff going on there. That camera's on him. Back to him again. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Air Phil, for the wise words. So, yeah, it's kind of awkward doing this by yourself. You don't got Phil judging you the whole time. You can say whatever you want. Phil's not here to pick on you. Feels good. Yeah, I was looking up yeah, like I was saying. Yeah. There is a company that's doing the firearm training. But it's the same company that gets you the Utah license and the Florida carry license. I know that they're doing one locally. I'm not sure how many hours of live fire training it is, and I don't even know what the requirements would be. Damn, Air Phil taking over the camera again. So I can't think of many places that has that kind of training. I love this camera. It's so funny. Hey, Phil, you've gotten more airtime than I have. The camera, Air Phil.
Oh boy, Air Phil.
Air Phil keeps getting the camera stuck on him the whole time.
That's awesome. Well, the way that the camera is designed is it's supposed to look at whatever is the most interesting.
Yeah,
thing,
look what Sean said. Phil's empty seat has more going on than your seat. The whole time.
Oh, what do we got here? Kurt, my man. Yeah, hopefully we'll get the Supreme Court on it. Larry Sharp. Larry Sharp was at the Scope pig roast, and he gave a good speech.
Really?
Yeah, he put it up on Facebook Live. So if you look up Larry Sharp with an E on Facebook, you can go back and see what he had to say about the Second Amendment in New York State and how we can actually make some differences on this. As much as we've got different people representing us who say they're going to do something to make this better, none of them have, and they just keep funding this nonsense. And Larry Sharp came on here and talked to us a bit, and he is somebody that I think would do a great job at getting some of this stuff done. But
he probably has 3 answers on how to do it.
He does, and but even he admits that it's going to take at least 2 or 3 years before you can even do anything about the SAFE Act, even if you had the right people in office.
Yeah. No. He's gonna. Is he coming around anytime soon? Is he going to be back in this area?
Well, he was here yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Oh, is that? Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know the next time. What I will say is that he hasn't been treated well by New York State and by the judges that he's had to deal with his electoral possibilities. So right now what we're looking at is a write-in campaign. They've changed the laws and manipulated the laws to make it so that this is the very first time since I believe 1956, maybe longer, that there will only be 2 candidates for governor in New York State. This will be the first time since like Truman that we haven't had a third party on the ballot as an option, and it's an abomination.
Yeah, I don't see Lee Zeldin beating her out either. So it's like,
yeah, I heard Larry say something that he said before, and I heard it again, and it's like, yeah, that's you ever talk to a Republican and ask them, what would it take for you to vote for a Democrat for governor? Would you ever do it? Like, is there any way that you would ever vote for a Democrat for governor?
Would I?
Yeah.
Personally?
Sure,
if they were the right person. I voted for Barack Obama as a Republican.
Yeah. So. Well, you were wrong.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but so what would most of them say?
I don't know.
Not a fucking chance.
Yeah, probably not. I just tried to. I was young then, and I liked some of the ideas he had. And I was like, oh, so it'd be good. And then the second term came around, and I was like, ooh, that wasn't a good idea.
Not a good idea.
And then I didn't. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where I feel like maybe I'm different than most people. I can vote for someone I think has different ideas. Yeah. So
most Republicans that I know, when you ask them if they would vote for a Democrat, they say hell no. And most Democrats feel the same way about voting for a Republican. And part of it's this duopoly where we've got people that think that if they've got the other letter next to their name, that they must be evil, or, they're going to do horrible things that's going to ruin your life. And the thing is, like, they wouldn't vote for the other one, but they might vote for a third party. So if we could get it so that it was actually a level playing field, we might have more than 2 people that were viable for each position.
Tulsi Gabbard. There's another Democrat I would have voted for.
Tulsi. She's bad on guns.
Yeah.
She's a military vet that's bad on guns.
It'd be interesting to hear her talk more on it, but that's long gone. I don't think she's running.
No, I don't think anymore. So. But, I don't think so. Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure that we got a chance to talk about this before it goes live in 11 days. And, just tell people, I don't know what to tell you.
You're leaving the country to get away from it.
I'm leaving the country.
And that's the only reason is this gun law. So.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, Sean.
Oh.
I don't know what to tell you. I write your representatives, vote. If we got every single person in New York State that owns a gun to vote to protect their Second Amendment, it would be protected.
There's got to be more people for the Second Amendment than that aren't. So in this state, you'd think.
The thing that I worry about a little bit is we also have a lot of what I call FUD. Do you know what a FUD is?
Mm.
A FUD is a person who says that they're for guns, that they like our Second Amendment rights, but then when you start talking about anything that's not a shotgun or hunting related
or a musket.
No, like
they all want
specifically
muskets like back in the 1800s.
FUDs are people who are like, oh yeah, I love my guns, and it's like they've got a rack of shotguns, but they don't think that you should be able to have a handgun, or they don't think that you need a semi-automatic rifle, or like they don't really believe in the Second Amendment. They just want to be able to have their guns.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotta
like,
run, Phil.
It's okay as long as it's this kind of gun.
I gotta go to my illegal distillery in 11 days with the Second Amendment sign on the door. I better go get rid of that.
All right. Everybody have a great day. Oh, I'm gonna do this on the way out. Boom, 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 boom.
Exit song.
Who's there? It's rare. Who's there? It's rare. Come fill your time. This pot's for all. From the Finger Lakes, join in the call. Learn something new about the Cuca Trail. Upstate New York, every episode a tell. Who's there? It's rare. Who's there? It's rare. It's rare.